that story by 11, and at least 2 occasions per child. This was our normal. And as you got older, it didn't seem as strange anymore. That's just how it was. Until, that is, you attended somebody else's birthday party. But with all the weirdness that was taking place, my mom would still be there to talk to you, to cry to, even ask about those adolescent problems that we all go through. She was always friendly to all my friends, taking pride in the fact that they liked her cooking so much that they would steal it out of the fridge and lie about where it went. They all respected her and loved her, but could not seem to express it to her. Instead, they would tell me to tell her that they were sorry about stealing the ham and just leaving the aluminum foil that covered it in the fridge. But that it tasted so good and so different from anything that they had had at home. My mom never gave up on any of us, never. She knew that not all of us were built the same, with the same talents and abilities that the other siblings had. But she always encouraged and pushed and cajoled and even told my brother Mike on several occasions that he could not have dinner unless he helped me with my math homework. He knows this. She was fiercely defensive of her children, and when other parents would criticize their kids, she would tell us to fight our own battles, not realizing that her kids were now carrying fan knives to the battles. Nobody got hurt, for the most part. When I left to join the military in 1986, my mom swore she did not know who I was when I came home to visit Texas in 1989. "Who are you?" she would say. "And why won't you stop cussing?" Never found the answer to the second question, but both Gilda and I would chuckle every time she would cuss in front of us during the last months of her life. Not in spite, mind you, just her old vernacular coming out in the open that happens when you don't give a damn anymore. Through the years, we learned to be the family that we once were back in the Philippines. All the holidays and birthdays and weddings and baptisms and picnics and potlucks all seemed to blend together. Through most of these, my mom and dad were there with us and watched and laughed and cried and scolded and lectured, as they should, until Dad got progressively weaker from his illness and could not make it out of the house anymore. Through all that, Mom stayed home with him. When Dad became really sick, all of us chipped in and took turns taking care of Dad. Mom was always there to make sure everything was done correctly. They had this method of communicating that none of us ever figured out. Dad would mumble and babble incoherently, and Mom would say, "He said he wants some water." It was weird and cool at the same time. Because now my mom spoke 3 languages. English, Filipino, and Dad. On June 9th, last year, yes, it was just last year, Dad passed away and left Mom with an empty house and her 12th child, Josh. All her life, it seemed, she had dedicated to taking care of us and then Dad, and here finally she could do what she wanted without anybody's permission. She was sad for a long time, missing Dad and talking about how lucky she was to have met him. And then things started to get easier and better, and then not. What happened next was a series of long periods of absolute stress to all of us that are here or that live here, knew and lived through. Infighting among siblings, judging, misjudging, apologizing, rinse and repeat. It was a trying time for everybody involved. But somehow, after chemo and 2 rounds of surgery, miracle. Mom was not talking funny anymore. She was getting stronger every day. No more slurred speech, no more weakness in her arms, no more headaches. Her hair was even growing back, and it was black. Can you believe that? She lost weight, started walking again. She felt strong enough some days to go eat out, go shopping. She was on. Finally, she could put her plan into action. She and Aunt Judy and Aunt Jenny were making arrangements to visit the great-grandkids in Florida and visit the rest of the clan in St. Louis. And then somebody decided to turn the lights off. Unfair is the word I wake up to every morning since her passing. Unfair. It is the word that Aunt Judy chose when we were discussing Mom's chances of making it out of thyroid surgery. Unfair is the word I tell my wife before we go to bed, and the first word in my head when we get up in the morning. There are a lot of things left undone and unsaid when these things happen. One day last year, after telling me a whole laundry list of things that she wanted me to do, I sat back at her. I sat back at her and said, "Mom, you have 7 boys. I have things to do too. I want to get all this done too, but I feel as if you singled me out from everybody else that can do this stuff." And she just sat there, didn't even look at me. I couldn't tell if she was ashamed or disgusted at me or both. I felt like crap. Second I said, I hoped I could take it back, but no, it's too late. I knew for sure she hated me now. Because you know how you usually think a lot of things you never say. Somehow that finally got out. I didn't know what else to say, so I just left her bedroom. Later that afternoon, as I was about to leave, I went to say bye to her, and she said in her usual way, "Okay, honey, take care. Don't forget about the door, and the dryer, and the sink," and the list went on. And I was like, "Yeah! Thank God, she ignored everything I said." Kissed her and said, "Okay, Mom, I love you." And no, she didn't forget. She later told Gilda that I was like an uncle she had. And I'm sure he was a great man. Because this uncle would always complain about stuff that people asked him to do. But he always got it done. So now at least I know I can blame him for how I turned out. And no, I did not get it all done. There was this other bigger thing that she asked me to help her out with. And I told her I would, but the opportunity had to present itself first. And it did. And I dove in with both feet and managed to yield a result that surprised even me. Okay, I thought, now we can get back to the little stuff. I told Gil that I feel so bad about so many things. The night that Mom passed, we stayed up, like I'm sure all of us did. All the other little things that she wanted me to do. The worst part about it in my mind was that I was supposed to be there that night, be there with them for dinner, and maybe even shortly after. But because I had made a previous engagement to work on Friday, I needed that time to prepare for a gig. So I asked Gilda if she could take care of Mom by herself that night and just let Mom know I couldn't make it. And of course Mom was cool with it. What if I was there though? You know, that's what I think. Would anything have turned out differently? I don't don't know, but I like to think that it may have. There's a heavy price to pay when you're close to anybody, really. There's expectations and emotions and schedules and projects that leave you vulnerable to a less than desirable result. The options are easy. You really only have two. You say yes, you say no. Sometimes it's way easier to say no. Most of us know what this is like. My pain is not unique, but it is mine. I am one out of 11 children, born by 1 in 1.5 billion moms. I like to think there is only one me, and I only have Mom. And now she's gone. In closing, I want to thank my wife Gilda especially for having bonded with Mom right from the minute you guys met. You made her feel special in a way that only you can do. I told you when I met you that I didn't think people like you still lived on this earth. I'm glad you were the last person there with Mom that she passed. I love you and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Aunt Judy, or as she is known around these parts, The Rock. Thank you so much for everything that you did and do. When we were all exhausted and started pointing fingers at each other, you kept Mom right there, right within reach. I cannot express how much I appreciate all that you do for this family. I love you too, but only in an aunt-nephew kind of way, nothing weird. Thank you to all my brothers and sisters, my in-laws, my nephews, my nieces. Big thanks to Kim and Derek and Maddie for sticking with it. It may not be the best way to be a family, but this is how we do it. Big thanks to Marcia and Deb and Lisa and Bambi. You guys bore the brunt of it, I know. We all know. Now it's time to enjoy the free time and do what other normal people do. Big thanks to Brian. I know you were really upset when you got the news. I want to thank you for taking care of Dad all those nights and then letting Lisa take care of Mom. I share your feeling of being let down after getting this far, but it is what it is. Thank you, Mark, for being understanding. I know you struggled with it sometimes, as we all did, but we kept the faith. We saw it through, and I hope you have no regrets as I have no regrets. All is common to force, I think. Thanks to Art and Chris and Carl and Cheryl and all the folks at Health South for bringing my mom back after her surgery. Thank you, Parang Egay, for everything, too numerous to mention, through all these years. I don't understand why you took care of my mom and dad like you did, but I'm glad that you did. My mom would always ask me what I was getting you for Christmas, and I would always say to her, shouldn't you be giving him something for Christmas? She loved you and Eden and was always thankful for everything that you did. I thank everybody here for taking the time to be part of Mom's remembrance. Notice I said Mom and not my mom. As Donovan and Kat pointed out, she treated everybody like they were all her kids, and everybody called her Mom. So out of 1.5 billion and 1 moms, we got the best one. Not such a bad deal. So Mom, I have no way of knowing if you can hear what I'm saying, but just in case, I just wanted you to know that I was not ready for you to go. I'm sorry that I did not get to do all the things that you wanted me to do.
I just figured we had plenty of time to do all those things later. I will miss our hello and goodbye kisses. I will miss the sound of your voice, the smell of your hair, the smile on your face, your amazing conversations with Liam. I think it isn't fair that you had to go so early without letting me say goodbye. But I know that it wasn't up to you. I wish we weren't so close. It'd be easier to let you go. I can only pray and hope that you are in a better place. It would be a shame to take something so good from this earth if it didn't go to a better place. I love you, Mom. Please look over Kim and Maddie and Gilda and Liam and everybody else here. We are going to miss you